Is Facebook the place for real journalism? Google Nexus rumors and an iOS app that blocks all content on the internet. Tech News Tonight is next.
This is Twit.
This is Tech News Tonight, episode 433 for Monday, September 28th, 2015. This episode is brought to you by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of Super Tank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit epson.com/ecotank to find out more. Welcome, I am Megan Morrone. Let's get to today's big news. This morning, Apple announced it has broken all previous sales records with the new iPhone 6s and 6s Plus. That's right, the company sold over 13 million iPhones just in the past 3 days. The numbers are expected to go even higher as the phone goes on sale in over 40 countries starting on October 9th. According to a press release, the phone will be released to 130 countries before the end of the year. And for all you stock watchers, be aware that in an interesting twist of Apple's fiscal calendar fate, sales that took place on Saturday will show on Apple's fourth quarter for 2015, and Sunday's sale will show up as first quarter 2016 sales. Google has announced a number of improvements to the acoustic models its apps use to identify and recognize speech using what Google calls connectionist temporal classification, or CTC, and sequence discriminative training techniques. The new speech recognition is faster, and the improved acoustic models require lower computational resources and have been trained to take in larger chunks of audio, which should improve audio recognition in noisy places. These new acoustic models have been updated in the Google Search app for both Android and iOS, and for dictation on Android devices. First, there were iOS ad blockers, and now there are full-on iOS content blockers. The Verge reports on a new iOS app called Discontent or Discontent, depending on how you're feeling. It blocks all content from your phone. The description says, "Stop distracting yourself from marginally informative blog posts and start living." It was created by someone who knows content, Paul Miller, one of the founding editors of The Verge. The app is 99 cents, and it requires iOS 9. It doesn't block podcasts, so sadly, you are stuck with me. The New York Times this weekend posted a great article by MIT professor Sherry Turkle entitled "Stop Googling, Let's Talk." We are all spending more hours dividing our attention between our world around us and our devices. College students that Turkle interviewed referred to a rule of 3 when it comes to deciding when to split their attention from the real world to their cell phone. The rule goes as follows. If more than 3 people are engaged with a real conversation at a table of 6 to 7 people, you can permit yourself to look at your cell phone and avoid the chance of insulting anyone at the table. Turkle is the author of Life on the Screen and Alone Together, Why We Expect More from Technology and Less from Each Other. The research from the Times article is based on research from her forthcoming book called Reclaiming Conversation, which comes out next month, and I'm hoping to get her on this show to talk about it. And tomorrow is Google's live Nexus event. Tech News Today anchor Mike Elgin will be there, and I will be hosting his show starting a little bit early, very early for me, at 8 a.m. Pacific time. So we will be in time to stream the live announcement. According to Android Police, the Nexus 5X will start at $379.99. That's the rumored announcement. It will be available for pre-order on September 29th in the U.S., the U.K., Korea, Japan, and Ireland. It's also rumored that pre-orders will only be available on the Google Store and not in carrier stores. And coming up, Robert Scoble is here to talk about the battle for news on social media sites. But first, this episode is brought to you by Epson. Epson's revolutionary EcoTank line of printers for home and office introduce a new age in printing. The new EcoTank ET4550 wireless all-in-one printer doesn't use ink cartridges. Instead, it features an innovative refillable ink tank. It comes with enough ink to print up to 8,500 pages. That's equivalent to about 50 ink cartridge sets. You're loaded and ready to print for about 2 years. Powered by Epson's leading-edge precision core technology, it delivers high-speed, vivid colors and laser-quality black text. Plus, auto two-sided printing, a 30-page auto document feeder, and easy wireless printing from tablets and smartphones. All EcoTank printers deliver an unbeatable combination of convenience and value with ultra-low-cost replacement ink bottles. Now you have the freedom to print without running out of ink. So visit Epson.com/EcoTank today to transform the way your home, office, or work group prints. For the best combination of ease and value, turn to the new Epson EcoTank printers. That's EPSON.com/EcoTank. And we thank Epson for their support. Epson, exceed your vision. Our guest today is longtime tech commentator Robert Scoble. Robert is the futurist at Rackspace. He's a writer, an evangelist, a man who knows how to do social media. While many journalists have firmly planted themselves on Twitter, Medium, and the fading Google+, Robert has made it his mission to prove that Facebook can still be an important place for breaking and consuming news. Facebook has recently revamped features of its Notes app, making content that's produced there look a lot more professional. Robert posted a piece there yesterday titled "How Medium and Twitter Could Withstand Facebook's Moves to Get Journalism and Celebrities to Move." I'm excited to talk to him today. Welcome, Robert.
Hey, how are you doing? I had no idea that Medium was going to collect $57 million today, though.
Yeah, that was the big news, I guess, that just broke. $57 million in venture funding. I guess we should start with that. What do you think about that?
I think it's very smart. You know, Twitter is a weaker company right now, but they need answers. And at some point, they're going to have a new CEO. And that new CEO is probably going to look at things like Medium as a way to get the customers excited again.
Right. No, in your piece, you said, you made the comparison of Volkswagen, who got a new CEO in, 3 days? I mean, Twitter is... it's known for breaking news and moving fast and quickly, but they've been dragging their heels for a while.
Well, the board is sort of needs to be cleaned out. If you look at the board, very few of them use Twitter, and very few of them are really innovation leaders and really understand where to take Twitter in the future. They're not the kinds of people who, I look to for ideas for where media is going, And Evan Williams certainly is one of those that does bring new things to the world every few years and has for more than a decade, right?
Right. And so he, of course, started Medium. And, one of the striking things about Medium is it's just beautiful. Like anybody's content looks good out there, no matter what it is. And I think it's confusing to people. How do you get on there? Because anyone can really write on there, but the average person's not going to see an average person's piece. It is an interesting model. The stuff that...
But that's true on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. Richard Branson does not have a problem getting seen and getting eyeballs, but the average person, if they write a post somewhere, it really struggles to get, more than 100 or so views on that post. Medium does have a way to get good content up to the main screen, which will get some views, but let's be honest. Where are most people when you ask them where do they read? It's Facebook, and so that's where I put most of my effort for the last couple of years. And now I'm spreading out and looking around and seeing what else is out there. Medium is very interesting for the community it built and the form. It's just very beautiful, like you said, and that's that makes it easy to communicate. You could tell what Evan is doing. So Evan started Blogger back in the late 90s, right? And Blogger was long form content. Then he sold that to Google. He started a new company called Odeo, and they did podcasts. So he tried audio for a little while. That didn't work. And one of his a team of his engineers came up with Twitter, sharing small little things. Small little things made a lot of sense because back in the blog world, most of our posts were small little things like this with a little link, right? And phones were just kept coming along, and they saw that trend and made it compatible with SMS. Now the phones are not so limited by SMS, right? We have nice, big, beautiful screens on brand new iPhones like this one, and so we don't need the forum to be limited to 140 characters like Twitter is anymore. Medium makes a lot of sense. It's really beautiful. And that's why, Facebook copied it and came out with Pages on Friday. So let me see if I can pull up a page.
I think we might have your Pages story that we can pull up also. I think I was calling it Notes, sorry, but it's Pages.
Yeah, sorry.
Notes.
Facebook Notes.
Yeah. And it looks much better than what a long post on Facebook used to look like.
Yes. And it's also the nice thing about Facebook Notes is they're very, very fast. So when you click a link on a note, it pops up instantly. Where if you click a link on a Medium page, the servers have to load and the page has to come in. And it's fairly fast, but it's not as fast as Facebook natively is. Because Facebook is also, because they control the entire stack, they can preload that page in underneath. And so that the page loads very quickly. Facebook is doing this with media organizations as well. Washington Post now is using the same kind of preloading technology where you click a link and their page is instantly there. Where most other sites, you have to wait 5 or 10 seconds for the page to load, and you lose people when it is slow like that.
So that instant articles is interesting, and I guess that the Apple News app is also doing that. It's really quick and beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Flipboard started this, right? Flipboard pre-cached a lot of stuff in the app so that when you clicked a link or you flipped over it, it was very, very instant, and you didn't have to wait for it. And that's the bleeding edge, but it requires you to own the production and the entire stack of the content, which Facebook now is moving toward. Medium, and I think this is why the investors gave Medium $57 million, because Medium's out there. They built a nice community, it built a really nice interaction model. Your comments go next to the paragraph that you're commenting about, actually, which is really an interesting idea. And it's beautiful. But what if Twitter, for instance, were to buy Medium and put that underneath and have the same quick load pre-caching that Facebook has? Well, that would make Twitter a lot more interesting than having Medium stay on its own.
that is interesting. I haven't heard of that. I've heard a lot of people, saying who should buy Twitter, but not who Twitter should buy. I mean, they have the Project Lightning, which they've been teasing, but we haven't really heard anything more about it, where they would block the news into different topics and make it easier to find news that way. But it's still not short.
I assume if they really are getting a CEO and if they're just going to sell off the company for parts and sell it to Google, that's one way to go. But you don't need a CEO to do that, right? Mm-hmm. But that should happen quickly, and the rumors should start. That, hey, sorry, we're out of here. I assume if they're going to actually hire a CEO, that they're going to want to make the company real. Have Twitter have a future, which means you have to start investing in features that customers care about. And Twitter just hasn't been doing that lately. And I hope it takes that path. I actually don't want Twitter to be bought by Google or some other company, because it would just get crushed.
So the eyeballs are on Facebook. The readers are on Facebook, but the writers, like the journalists, they're often on Twitter. So you recently visited Facebook, and a Facebook exec asked you, how can we get more journalists on Facebook? Did you have an answer?
Well, I did yesterday, because I wrote it the other way around, which is, why aren't they switching? And why is Twitter and Medium better for celebrities? And, you look at the friending model, for instance, friending on Facebook. Most people, when you ask them, what's Facebook for? They say, oh, to talk to my real friends, my family and my friends. They don't talk about looking at the news or looking at content from people that they don't care about. Now, I've identified that there is a crowd that's out there looking for that on Facebook, but most of the billion people don't think about Facebook that way, right?
Right.
And so you just ratchet through what Twitter does that's better for celebrities or rich people. Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, last week turned off his Facebook profile, his page, his account. And on Twitter, he admitted it yesterday that he turned it off. And he said, I had to choose. I'm a CEO of a public company, and I came home from Salesforce, and I was overwhelmed with things to do. And he said, I had to shrink down the amount of things I do online to pay attention to my personal life and pay attention to my business. And so he chose Twitter, And why did he choose Twitter? Because there's just not that expectation that you're going to answer every question and be in the comment area. And also there's not the filtering that happens, so you can see everything easier. And there's not the real time. And there's an easier identifier, right? You can say, hey, follow me at Benioff. And it's easier to figure out. It's a more public thing. And it doesn't bring the drama that, the Facebook brings with friending and, and all that.
Right, or not friending. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, with Twitter,
I've heard it, right? Why did you unfriend me? It's like, because your content sucks. That's why I unfriended you. I like you as a person. I'll go out to dinner with you, but I'm not going to follow you because Facebook limits me to 5,000 friends, right? Mm. Twitter, by the way, limits you to 2,000 follows, but once you get to 2,000 followers, you can go higher. And I am now following 40,000 things on Twitter. So it's easier for me to follow a wide variety of people and brands on Twitter than it is on Facebook. Facebook forces me to be judicious and really think about who I'm following, which is its strength, right? Mm-hmm. Facebook is filtered. And I love Facebook because it filters out a lot of the crap, where Twitter doesn't. But, that's the downside also. I mean, I look at my Facebook, right? Let me see if I can get this. So I have TechCrunch, I have VentureBeat, I have Fast Company. Have you seen any baby photos yet? Any dog photos? Any memes? No, they're gone because there's Wired.
Right. So it knows what you click on, and you've also probably done some behind the scenes clicking and saying, I don't want to see that. That's what you can do now with Facebook. You can unfollow someone they don't know. But there's still.
That's one. There's lots of ways to filter the feed, but the algorithms are trainable. And if you don't like to see dog photos, you say, I don't want to see it. And eventually it gets a point that, hey, maybe we shouldn't bring him so many dog photos.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to say that, right? I mean, now it's like, how long have you watched that video? No, but I'm training it. Right. I'm training it explicitly, and I'm being very disciplined about it. And when you are disciplined about it, it becomes a competitive advantage. Facebook is way better. The feed is way better than my Twitter feed. But on the other side is celebrities that they don't like that. They don't like to be filtered out. Right. I mean, you say that, like, if you're just going to post a picture of yourself on the beach with no content, or, a picture you showed of just, that Taylor Swift posted on Instagram, like, it gets 1 billion hits with just a picture of herself that she didn't even take because she was in it, obviously. Whereas in Facebook, you have to really do something in order for it to get popular. And that's what
here's a VIP list over on Twitter. Now, this is not my homepage. This is not filtered. Lists are full. So here's Paul and his kids' pictures, right? Now, that's great for his friends, but I don't care about that. Let me see if there's anything else here.
Well, is it possible that there's really no...
Here's Joey Ito showing a picture without even any information. Now, Joey's a great guy. He runs the MIT Media Lab, and, but do I need to see a picture with no information on it? No, I don't. I really don't. And, Twitter forces me to look at all this crap.
Right. And the other thing that Twitter does, and when you're talking about, like, writing back to people or participating with your audience, you have to actually go to see if someone has replied to a tweet, if some famous person has replied to a tweet. Whereas Facebook, it's like you can see, like, I can see if I look at a post that you posted that you are actually interacting with people back and forth. But with Twitter, if you're having a whole conversation, I'm not necessarily going to see that. I'm not going to necessarily see, like, oh, look at Robert Scoble on Twitter. He's participating with every person that participates. They hide that for a reason.
It's not for a reason. It's just on Twitter, the main usage model has always been you follow somebody like Kevin Rose or Leo Laporte or Tanya Hall, and you see everything that they post, right? But you don't see necessarily all of their friends writing back to them, right? You have to sort of play around with it to see that.
Right. If you have to be
do
friends
some
with both, be following the other person. They only show you people that you're following. So
Right. And that was the default mode of Twitter because it was based on blogging, wasn't based on communities, and it wasn't based on, talking about your kid's baseball game. Facebook is different. And people are starting to really understand that these are two different platforms and different modalities or different methodologies. On the other hand, I'm a guy who likes building communities and interacting with people. And so Facebook is so much nicer for commenting and interacting with people. I can post pictures in the comments. I can see threads, and I can see that it's all underneath one person's post, right? It's separate from all the other stuff. And so that's the problem for rich people and celebrities and journalists. There's an affordance or an expectation that I'm going to be there and answering you because if you leave a comment underneath my post and I don't answer you, I look like an asshole, right?
Well, or
on Twitter, it's sort of like the default mode.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, that's a criticism of Twitter, too, because you only see the comments of people you're already following. That's what makes it a bit of an echo chamber sometimes. If there are a lot of people who have very differing opinions and you're already not following them, you're not going to see their comments. And so it's that kind of, I'm only seeing the things that I already believe in.
By the way, the filtering mechanism on Facebook, one of the ways to get distributed and into people's pages is to comment and to have them comment. Because let's say you comment underneath one of my items, some of your friends will see, hey, this person commented on my post, on this person's post, and it pushes it to more people. And if you have more engagement, if you have more people liking and more people commenting, you get more distribution. And that's not necessarily true on Twitter, right?
Right. Well, is it possible that there's really no size, there's not one size fits all for this? It's always Twitter is always going to be better for some people and some purposes, and Facebook is also going to be better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. When I ask my audience, I speak a lot now, and I was just in Brazil last week, and I asked my group of business executives, where have you posted the past week? Everybody raises their hands for Facebook. 70% raise their hands for Twitter. 40% raise their hands for LinkedIn, and like 2 people in the crowd raise their hands for Google Plus, right? And that matches what I hear worldwide and what the stats are showing us, right? Mm-hmm. So for most people, Facebook is going to be where they're going to find the most engagement and the biggest audience for most people. For some people, they say Twitter's better. Eric Schoenfeld, who's editor at TechCrunch, says he likes Twitter better. Well, I went and looked at his Facebook, and it was all tweets. Of course it's better because he's pushing everybody on Facebook back to Twitter, and he also signaling to the world that he's not spending any time on Facebook. And he says, that's right. I don't have time to spend time on Facebook commenting and being part of the community there. So for some people like that, Twitter will work better. For me, Facebook will work better. And you have to sort of play with both and see what it does for you. Most of my real world friends and family are not on Twitter. So if I want to talk to real world people, Facebook is by far the better way, right?
Well, we could talk about this for probably the length of 10 Medium articles.
Years.
Yes.
I think in a decade, we're still going to be talking about, is Facebook going to still stick in as the place where we have to be, or is there going to be something new? And we can talk about Snapchat and Instagram.
Yeah, right.
Of course, Instagram's owned by Facebook, and WhatsApp is owned by Facebook. And I was just in Brazil, and I took a picture of the taco truck, a food truck, and they had Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram on the side of the truck. And those are the 3 logos I see worldwide. And so until I stop seeing those 3 logos on food trucks and things like that, I don't believe that anybody's going to compete with those 3 major brands.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, Robert, thank you so much. Robert Scoble is a futurist at Rackspace. He's, of course, at Scobleizer on Twitter. And if you can figure out how to find him on Facebook, you can find him there, of course.
Easy to find. 600 something thousand people have found me there. So I have a feeling I'm pretty easy to find.
Yeah, I know, but it's hard. What do you say? Like, you're at Robert Scoble on Facebook. I'm sure that's all you have to stick into Google to find it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, Megan.
Take care. And finally tonight, GeekWire reports on a new gadget inspired by the Mr. Fusion converter from Back to the Future. A team of engineers from the community supporting Biocycling CSB have created a machine that turns food and other organic waste into energy. Their device, called HORSE, which stands for High Solids Organic Waste Recycling System, can generate 5,400 gallons of liquid fertilizer per year with a 37 megawatt hours of raw energy that equates to over 10,700 miles in a Tesla Model S. The project is currently in the Kickstarter phase. To raise funding, a single HORSE unit will cost about $43,000. And that's it for this edition of Tech News Tonight. We are on Facebook. You can find us there. We're at facebook.com/TN2, or Tech News Tonight is what it is. But again, if you can find us, we're there. You can also subscribe to this show at twit.tv/TN2. You can write to us at TN2@twit.tv and watch live every weekday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And don't miss our morning news program, Tech News Today, every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm Megan Morrone. Thanks for watching.
Bandwidth for Tech News Tonight is brought to you by CashFly.com.